what's going on, guys? It's Jay Mass, and I'm back again with another dope New England adventure. And in today's video, we are once again back here in the city of Norwich, Connecticut. Now, I filmed several videos here in the city of Norwich, Connecticut in the past on this channel. In fact, some of you guys might remember that last summer, in August 2024, I actually filmed a video at the abandoned American Woolen Company building here in Norwich. And in that video, across the river, while I was inside of the building, I actually saw a massive abandoned factory, and it really piqued my interest. But at the time, I didn't know what that factory was, and I couldn't really find much information about it online. In fact, I'll roll the clip right now, and you can see me while I'm at the American Woolen Company building, checking out that abandoned factory and genuinely having no clue what it is. Another view of the beautiful river, and I actually see some more abandoned buildings right over there. You see that, guys? Those I have no clue what they are. I see another huge mill right over there. Though that one I don't think is abandoned, but that one definitely is. I'll have to do some research on that. Well, many months later, it's now 2025, and I finally figured out what that abandoned factory was. I'm literally standing in it right now. Now, full disclosure, this is actually my second time here. I first came here back in January 2025 with a couple other local urbexers. It was a pretty interesting time checking out this place, but I decided that I wanted to return once again by myself to film this place with you guys. Check it out, explore it, see what it has going on with you. So today we're gonna be filming this abandoned factory that last year I didn't know what it was, and I came here in January with other urbexers. So it's exciting to finally come back here because I do have a bit of a personal history with this place as of recently. So I'll get more in depth regarding the history and details later in the video, but what you need to know right now is that this place was once known as the American Thermos Bottle Company, yet another massive abandoned mill here in Norwich. It was built between 1912 and 1913, although the section that we're in, which is much more recent than that, was actually built between the 1930s and the 1950s. It operated for many decades until 1984 when it officially closed down. And while we're in the abandoned section, there is actually an active apartment complex nearby, which actually converted one of the mill sections of this complex. So that part's active, the apartment complex, but we're only going to be exploring this abandoned section, which again was built much more recently in the 1930s and 1950s. So we'll get into all that later. I'll explain more about this. As always, guys, my name is Jay Mass. If you love urban exploration, checking out abandoned sites, traveling New England and beyond, well, I'm always doing that on the channel, so feel free to subscribe to the channel. Major shout out to my channel members right here. You guys are awesome. And I'd love it if you too, viewer, became a member of the channel. You'd be supporting me and the channel directly, and I would truly appreciate it. Or you can follow me on Instagram at JMassOfficial. That's at JMassOfficial. But we're just gonna get started and explore this American Thermos Bottle Company building here in Norwich, Connecticut. I'm pretty excited to see what it has in store with you guys. And although I have been here before, I'm sure there's a lot I haven't seen. All right, guys, and we're gonna get started and explore this abandoned American Thermos Bottle Company here in the city of Norwich, Connecticut. One of many abandoned explorations I've personally done here in the city of Norwich. And already, like many abandoned mills and factories I've visited, you can see that this place is pretty destroyed. A lot of destruction and vandalism, good amount of graffiti here. You got random debris lying around, bricks, cinder blocks, industrial machinery. And really, it's stuff like that that I find fascinating about these abandoned mills and factories. I mean, you're really taking a peek into the past of New England's industrial history, because you have to keep in mind, industrial history is imperative to New England. In fact, it's what boosted our economy. I would say throughout the late 19th century, early to mid 20th century, it was one of the most important factors in our economy. And peeking into abandoned mills like this is proof of that. But we're just gonna kind of wander around and see what's going on here. Huge structure right here, covered in graffiti. Almost looks like some sort of blast furnace, although I'm not entirely sure. Probably a good time for me to also say, for those of you who don't know, I am not well versed in industrial machinery and equipment. So while I walk around and show you guys everything, I'm not really gonna know what a lot of what I'm looking at is. So if you guys know what it is, please inform me in the comments. You guys are a lot more intelligent than I am when it comes to industrial machinery and equipment. I would truly appreciate that because it would make the viewing experience a lot more engaging. But speaking of that, you can see a lot of machinery left behind here. We're not gonna go outside too much in this video, but I do just wanna show you one really quick thing outside while we're here, just because it is really interesting. And there is an abandoned car right here. Check this out. A random abandoned car, almost looks like a Jeep of some sort, just sitting here right outside the entrance to this abandoned American Thermos Bottle Company. I think it's a Jeep at least. It must be. I don't see the Jeep name or logo anywhere, but 90% sure this is a Jeep, although I'm also not a car guy. But yeah, check that out. Covered in graffiti, sitting here pretty desolate and destroyed. Really interesting. And then this, of course, is the entrance into the abandoned plant itself. So we're gonna head back in. I just want to show you that pretty cool abandoned car just sitting there. The other thing is this is actually the first abandoned exploration of the year for me, 2025, where the leaves are coming in. I mean, it's May 2025 as I film this. We had a lot of winter. It's currently spring, but finally the green foliage and leaves are coming in full bloom. So it's gonna make it a lot more pretty than the desolate brown and gray wastelands I'm usually exploring in the winter time. Okay, enough yapping. Let's kind of wander around and see what we got going on here. So it looks like there's a ladder that leads up to this loft area. If this is not too sketchy, I might actually head up. Yeah, let's try it. You guys know that whenever I climb up ladders, it's kind of risky filming, but this one's not too bad. So this is the upper loft area right here. Also, there's windows everywhere, so a good amount of natural light coming in. This weird structure right here, pretty cool graffiti though, skimp. Not sure what that means. But let's head right back down. I don't think I'm gonna head fully up there, not really too much going on. Okay, we're back down again. Now, there's also a lot to see in this abandoned mill. It's pretty damn big. You can see it goes way down below there. There's a lower level. There's also another section right through there. Check that out. So it's a huge structure. I'm gonna be kind of speedy with this. So actually, let's head over here next. So I guess what we'll do is we'll cover this ground floor first, or at least this specific building we're in, then head to the next one. So let's keep on going. All right, guys, as we walk around and wander and check out what this abandoned plant has going on, I will give you guys an in-depth history about this location. I think this is a bathroom right here. Yeah, it looks like that's a stall, definitely some sort of bathroom. We'll be poking around the nooks and crannies, all the little rooms, the main areas like this, just seeing what this place has to offer. But yeah, as we do that, I will give you guys the history of this location because in my opinion, it's pretty fascinating. So as I mentioned, this was once the American Thermos Bottle Company building. And a lot of you guys are probably familiar with the name Thermos. Thermos is actually still an active company to this day. They produce vacuum flasks. Although Thermos is sort of synonymous with vacuum flask itself, a lot of people call vacuum flasks thermoses, even though Thermos is a copyrighted brand name. It's kind of the same thing as like Jell-O or Kleenex, you know. But thermoses were produced here between 1912 and 1984. So as I mentioned, this mill building was built in 1912, well, between 1912 and 1913. However, the section we're in right now is a lot more recent, built between the 1930s and the 1950s. Now, this section we're in was known as the Glass House. I'm not entirely sure why it has that name, but it was known as the Glass House. In fact, there were two parts, Glass House 1 and Glass House 2. And a lot of local urbexers from New England actually refer to this place as the Glass Factory. If you talk to any of them, they'll probably call it the Glass Factory because that's what this section was known as, the Glass House. But it was part of the larger American Thermos Bottle Company mill complex, which by the way had 13 total structures. And damn, look at this, another abandoned car. I do remember this as well. Not sure what this is though. Yeah, it looks like no logo or anything left behind. But damn, another abandoned car just sitting here. Completely tagged in graffiti. Actually, let's head over here. Looks like there's a good amount of stuff left inside. You can see the steering wheel, the seating, the seat belt, the front console. Even has the radio still in there. Glove compartment. That's crazy to see. I thought that would have been completely scrapped. Kind of like the Jeep out front. And then the hood is wide open, showing off the engine. Fascinating. Very cool. I love seeing abandoned cars, especially those in warehouses and garages like this. So yeah, kind of as I was going over, the American Thermos Bottle Company produced vacuum flasks here, you know, their signature Thermos brand. And the other thing that's pretty interesting is that unlike a lot of, you know, factories and mills, especially in the 20th century. This one was heavily sought after by the residents of Norwich. Apparently the residents of Norwich, before this was built in the early 1900s, desperately wanted Thermos to come here. They actually were protesting for them to come here because it would have provided such a major economic boom to the city. So it's really interesting to hear about a major company that came in to produce a product in a city with the full support of the residents. Thought that was kind of interesting. But they operated here for many decades until 1984 when they ceased operations entirely. And from what I can understand, this place has essentially been abandoned since the 80s. Although I did allude to, there is a active apartment complex nearby. The actual mill building itself, you know, the iconic brick mill building, that is where the apartments are. And you can actually live there to this day. If you want to get an apartment here in Norwich, Connecticut, you are free to live where the Thermos building once operated. But yeah, that is apartments now. The glass house, though, still abandoned, as you can see. All right, we're gonna try to step over this debris, which I gotta be careful about, and check out what's over here. Okay, so this might be kind of hard to see, but right over there, you might see something that says alternative glass. Unfortunately, I can't really go over there because of all the debris, but it does say alternative glass. I think that might be a reference to the fact that this was the glass house at one point. So it makes me wonder if they produced glass here. I know there was a lot of machinery going on here. There was actually a massive conveyor belt here, I do know that. Huge conveyor belt that was once here. A lot of random stuff though. I do see some glass panes, also some old doors, a lot of wood and pallets, also some tires. So there's just a lot of random stuff lying around. Almost looks like it was some sort of warehouse as well, which wouldn't be too shocking. And just past that door over there is the actual apartment complex, which again is located in one of the former mill buildings. I think, let me just peek in that little room right there, and then we're actually gonna go up here, which I remember even back when I came here in the early part of the year, was heavily forested. There was a lot of plants and vegetation in there. Okay, yeah, not too much going on here, just random drywall and looks like ceiling parts just lying around, a lot of graffiti. Okay, let's head up here really briefly, see what we got going on. Wow, those tires are tough to walk on. Yeah, that probably goes without saying as well, but I do want to mention it. This place is very dangerous, very risky. Definitely not a safe place to go exploring, especially by yourself. And I know that's clearly what I'm doing right now. Don't be like me. Don't explore places like this by yourself. It is incredibly dangerous. I'm only doing it because number one, I have a massive ego. And number two, I have been urbexing for 13 years at this point. 12 or 13 years. Anyways, yes, we're at the upper level right now, the upper loft. And this is what I remember from last time, even in the early part of 2025, January, completely covered in random trees and foliage. Now it's in full bloom. Looks pretty beautiful. But there's a lot of random stuff lying around. I'll try not to dwell upon it too much. They got an old decomposing couch. Actually, I do see some more glass over here. So they must have produced glass here. I mean, I know I'm acting like that's a crazy revelation. The glass house produced glass. I'm only shocked about that though, because from my understanding, most vacuum flasks, you know, the things that Thermos are most well known for don't use glass. Maybe back in the day they did. It's possible that there was a type of product they were producing that used glass. But from what I'm aware of, I mean, Thermos doesn't really use glass in its products. I don't know. A lot of folding chairs. Again, tons of graffiti. Some of the graffiti is pretty cool though. Like, look at this. Random city next to the imperial flag of Japan. I don't know if that's actually what they were trying to show off, but shout out to some of the cool graffiti artists though. I mean, as you guys know, I do like good graffiti. And I always like to shout it out when I can because it's way better than seeing disgusting crap, you know, polluting the walls. Wow, like that's sick. How can you see that and hate it? Like, I genuinely don't know. All right, this is actually where we filmed the introduction from, right in here. I'll just give you a peek to have a sense of bearings about where we are. Just peek in here. Right there, so this is where we filmed the introduction. Now we're on the upper level. Not really too much in here, to be honest. It's pretty empty, also pretty destroyed. I mean, look at that ceiling. All the tiling has fallen off. You can see all the structural support beams. Let's peek in here. I don't really think there's anything going on in here. I think this is an empty room. Yeah, it's a small little empty room. Oh, another bathroom as well. Abandoned bathroom with a toilet. And a worm telling us, ask about me. So if you guys want to ask him anything, feel free. Pause the video, ask him whatever you want. Okay, yeah, not too much else going on in here. It's pretty empty. I'm gonna head back down that ladder we came up, and we're gonna keep exploring, but so far pretty interesting. Okay guys, so we're back in this room once again where we filmed the intro, and I think now we're gonna head down below into the dark depths of the basement. Just see what we got going on down here. Probably not too much. I actually don't think I came down here last time, so this part is new to me at least. But there's a lot of stuff lying around. I have no clue what these are, these things. So if any of you guys know, please let me know in the comments. Generally not sure what these are. But anyways, yeah, now we're in the basement. So let's see what we got going on here. This place is huge, I gotta say. It's a really big section. And again, this is just one part of the American Thermos Bottle Company complex. It had 13 total structures. It was quite large. And we're only in one section, the actually abandoned section. But I mean, this place was massive. I'll show you some drone shots later, and you'll see like how large this complex is, including the active part where, you know, people live today in apartments. It's fascinating. This right here looks like at some point there was a large machine on it. I see these a lot in industrial settings. You know, they have these large concrete mounts. Almost looks like at some point there was a huge machine here. And you might hear some scurrying up there. Not sure what that is. Yeah, that kind of brings me to something I want to mention in this video. You know, I do a lot of urbexing, been doing urbexing for years, 12 or 13 years. I'm blanking on the exact number, but I've been doing it for well over a decade. There's a lot of things people talk about when it comes to urban exploration that you got to be careful of. It's an inherently risky hobby. Can cause a lot of bodily harm to you if you get injured. You know, sometimes if you don't do enough research, you might not be careful with the places you go. There could be very angry squatters there, or even, you know, you might be on private property that's you're not supposed to be at if you're not careful enough. One thing that not a lot of people talk about when it comes to abandoned places are the animals. And a lot of abandoned places have animals just hanging out. And I think that's what that was, because before I started filming, I think that was a raccoon or something. I saw a huge raccoon just scurrying around. It's not the end of the world, it's just a raccoon. It's not gonna do anything, but I have heard in the past that there have been bears in abandoned locations, wolves, foxes. So definitely be careful, because animals do come in abandoned locations. I've seen them quite a bit. Okay, so it looks like we have to go on this really sketchy bridge right here. So let's do that. But yeah, I did just want to say that. That's something not a lot of urbexers talk about, the animal problem. Okay, wow, this is sketchy. Gee, okay, yeah, we're, should I? Yeah, I'm definitely not going down on this thing. Okay, this place has a lot of really sketchy bridges like this. It's not even worth climbing on. I mean, if I fall, I'm gonna be paralyzed for life. Not even gonna risk it. So we're actually gonna go down to that building a different way. Oh, look at this. Random folding chair. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna head back up to the top section. We're gonna find another way to get down there. I believe there is, so I'm not too worried. But again, this place is really risky. All right, guys, so we're now down below at the other building. This is either Glass House 1 or 2. I don't know which is which, to be honest, but there are two massive sections of this abandoned property, and we're at the other one. So we started at the first, we're at the second right now. Wow, huge machine in here. We'll get in there in a second, but really quickly, I just want to show you guys. Right over here is the river. This is originally how I found this factory. Now, one thing I want to clear up, in that original video that I filmed at the American Woolen Company building, I called this the Thames River, you know, pronouncing it the way they do in London, the Thames River in London. Apparently a lot of locals actually told me it's pronounced the Thames River. So my apologies for calling it the Thames River, even though that's where I was logically assuming it would be pronounced, just like the one in London, but nope, it is the Thames River. And in fact, it might be kind of hard to see through the trees, but right over there is the American Woolen Company building. So that's what we explored last summer, right there. Now we're on the other side of the Thames River, checking out this one. So we're gonna head down inside once again, see what's going on. Again, huge, massive machine right here. Please let me know what this is. Actually, I might even say, it's a Woodward. Woodward Governors for Prime Movers, Woodward Governor, Rockford, Illinois. It doesn't really explain what it is, but some huge machine right here, still left behind, which is fascinating. In fact, this whole building is kind of destroyed. You can see a lot of structural damage. Probably only a matter of time before those cinder blocks fall down. Yeah, this place is in rough shape. Oil drums everywhere, random piping. So probably not a safe place for us to be inside. Oh, looks like there's a conveyor belt in there. Let me see if there's actually a way to get around this way instead. You know, it's a little safer. Okay, there is. So let's head in here really quick. Random bookshelf. There's just so much debris lying around. So much debris. I guess we can't go in that way. I'll go back in a second, but let's view this room right here. Oh, I remember this from last time. Check this graffiti. Normally I try not to dwell on graffiti too much, but I mean, this stuff is sick. Look at this. If any of you guys don't know, I'm a huge rap fan. Rap is one of my favorite genres. Actually, it is my favorite genre. I love rap. And I'm a huge fan of MF Doom, one of the greatest rappers to ever live. Check this out. Graffiti art of MF Doom right there. Operation Doomsday, his first full-length album. Another one right here. That's so sick. Every hero needs a villain. I don't know if any of you guys like MF Doom as well watching this, but huge fan myself. So sick to see. R.I.P. MF Doom. Okay, let's head to that other little room before I keep on going. Check out what's in there. All right, now this is sick. Check out this machinery. These look like some huge conveyor belts left behind. I did mention earlier that there were a lot of massive, well, there was one massive conveyor belt, but there are probably a lot of smaller ones. I believe these are the smaller ones, but super interesting to see. Look at this huge machinery left behind from the days when this place was operating and making vacuum flasks for the Thermos Company. Another huge piece of machinery right here, though this I'm not even sure what it is, but it's connected to piping. Looks like some utility room though. Crazy how big this place is. It is massive, massive place with so much left behind. I've been to quite a few abandoned mills and factories, and this one genuinely has some of the most machinery left behind, you know, if any of them I've explored. Very interesting. That's really all there is in here. I just want to show you guys because this machinery is so cool to see. Again, it really is a relic into the past when New England was an industrial hub. You just don't really see that anymore. Okay, so now we're gonna head up these stairs, check out the upper levels. I do remember this from last time as well. These upper levels were pretty interesting. There's also a way onto the roof, I remember. So I definitely want to do that with you guys. I definitely want to get on the roof because the views from up top are just astounding. Get gorgeous views of the Thames River. And of course, the American Woolen Company building, the other abandoned building we checked out. But yeah, let's just peek around a bit. Not too much in here, just some empty rooms, tons of graffiti again. Oh, that's actually how you get on the roof. We'll do that after. But yeah, tons of graffiti everywhere. This place really is in many ways like an art gallery. Down below right there. So crazy. It's like you're just in a maze of industry, an industrial maze. Fascinating. Okay, let's head over here. Head this way. So much piping. Look at all that piping. You know, when I walk around stuff like this, like specifically here at this specific abandoned location, it really does make you think, I'm not trying to be mean when I say this, but it does make you think how far Norwich has fallen, historically speaking. Think about it for a second. I mean, at one point, Norwich, Connecticut was one of the premier cities in Connecticut, one of the major cities in Connecticut. I mean, this was an industrial hub. Industry was massive here. You had several mills and factories and plants operating. And of course, it also had a massive shipbuilding industry way back in the day. So at one point, Norwich was one of the most important cities for industry here in Connecticut. Today, not really so much. It's not even one of the largest cities in Connecticut. You know, heavily surpassed by cities like Hartford, New Haven, Bridgeport, Waterbury. I don't even think Norwich is up there, but at one point, Norwich genuinely was one of the most important industrial hubs here in Connecticut. Okay, let's actually head up to the roof right now. Check this out, guys. We're currently on the roof. Now, this is obviously not the roof. I mean, you can see there's taller structures up here, but we are at least on one of the roofs, and you can see this thing gives you pretty great views of the area. This is the mill right here, one of the glass houses. Fascinating to see up close. You can really see like all the industrial equipment and machinery that was needed to make thermoses. And now let's head over here, another section. That's where we originally started. Apologies for the sunlight. I know it's kind of bright right now, but that's where we started the video up there. We still have a bit more to see. Right down there is another massive section we haven't explored yet. This is the section we're currently in. So it's a large area, pretty large area. And this is the roof that we're on right now. That's the pretty destroyed section, so I'm definitely not going to be walking over there. You can see all the holes in the roofs. Probably only a matter of time before that collapses, but this one is not too bad. And then again, beautiful views of the Thames River right there. Check that out. Right down there, the American Woolen Company building. And this is how I'm going to get back down. So I just wanted to show you guys that. We're going to head back down and keep exploring, but just a nice little reprieve, you know, from the pretty cold steel industrial setting. All right, we're heading down here now. We are directly below the factory itself in some little area that's like kind of outside, but not really. You can see it's all held by stilts and support beams. And if you guys want to come here and hang out, you know, hang out with some friends, there you go. Nice little comfy cushioned couch right here for you. I'm sure it's completely safe and clean. So you have my blessing if you want to come out and chill. Nice little cushioned couch for you right there. You will not catch me on that couch, but just offering it to those who want to. All right, let's keep going. Oh, what the hell? Look at this. Is that bamboo? That's so weird, this bamboo growing. Wow, that's a first. Bamboo at an abandoned factory. I think that's a sign. We gotta go in here. Yeah, yet another pretty innocuous abandoned room. Not too much going on in here. Although this is the massive section right here. This I do remember from last time. Huge, massive section of the Thermos Bottle Company building. Again, not sure which glass house this is, one or two, whatever. They're pretty similar, but huge section right here. Before we do that though, let's peek in here. Let's take a little peek. That's actually where we were up there earlier, so I'm not gonna head up there, but we were just up there. Some more stellar graffiti. Seriously, shout out to the graffitiers here. I mean, some of this work is phenomenal. I wish I could draw like that. My drawings look terrible, but in fact, my handwriting is terrible as well. Wow. Huge depression in the ground right here. It looks like there was a bit of a sinkhole here at some point, or something was destroyed, collected with still water. Nobody make a still water meme in the comments. All right. Yeah, let's keep walking around. Across this little thing. By the way, does anyone know what these are called? At pretty much every single abandoned factory or mill I've ever explored, here's another one. I always see these little ruts in the ground. They almost look like channels. I don't think they were used for water. I think it was for piping. I'm not entirely sure, but I always assumed that piping was under these and they just tore out the piping when they gutted this place. Maybe it was used for water, I don't know, but I always see these at abandoned factories. These little ruts in the ground. God, this place is massive. Huge place. Definitely one of the biggest abandoned factories I've ever explored on this channel, by far. Let's keep walking down here. Keep walking down here. The other thing that's interesting is, as I kind of alluded to at the beginning, I mean, Thermos is a massive global brand. You can get thermoses in pretty much any country on earth. They're very well known, especially here in the United States. Thermoses are super popular, North America that is. And I'm curious if a lot of you guys have very fond childhood memories with thermoses. I remember when I was a kid going to school, whenever I used to bring a lunchbox to school, I would always bring a thermos with me. And my mom would always pack me some random food to put in there, whether it was pasta or spaghetti or macaroni and cheese. I would always have food in that little thermos. There was a little mini kid-sized thermos I always brought with me for food. So I have very fond memories of thermoses when I was a kid. So seeing the place where they manufactured thermos bottles, vacuum flask bottles, is fascinating. I'm not gonna go too close, but I do believe that this right here is actually the apartment complex, so let's not go any closer. Let's see if we can head up on this top level right here. All right, we're heading up to this level right now. I assume this is gonna be pretty empty. Yeah, not too much going on up here. We won't spend too much time, but I did just wanna show you guys up here. Check this out. Huge area, just like down below. Got a lot of the steel beams and support structures still left behind. It's very skeletal, this section we're in, very skeletal. Oh, look at that. This says caution, floor load capacity, 130 pounds per square foot. So obviously they had a lot of heavy machinery and equipment up here, and this is held by support structures, so you gotta be careful about that. So apparently you can only put 130 pounds per square foot on the structure, which is still pretty damn heavy. So that means you can still put very heavy equipment and machinery up here. Crazy to see. But yeah, not too much. And again, it's crazy to me. The apartment complex is literally right past there. Forgot how close we were to that. I feel like in a way that'd be kind of interesting though, to actively live your life right next to a massive abandoned factory. I mean, as an urban explorer myself, that would be phenomenal. Imagine if I lived right next to an abandoned factory. Man, you guys would be getting the same slop content every day. I'm just kidding, of course not, but that would be crazy to live right next to an abandoned factory. I would like it, honestly. I think it'd be really cool. Let's peek out here, but I think that really is about it for right now, at least from what I remember. I'm gonna do a little bit more digging, see if I can find anything else to show you guys, but that might be about it. Just peek out here really quick. Yeah, not too much. So yeah, anyways, I think that's about it for right now. All right, so once again, we're back outside, and as you can see, we have a really tall ladder to climb. So I'm gonna start climbing that, but if I do recall correctly from, the last time I came here, I believe there was a catwalk up above, and the catwalk looks over that massive area we saw earlier. So we're gonna head up here, just check that out really briefly. Now there is also a way to get to the very top of this structure. I don't think I'm gonna be doing that today. Honestly, it's just very dangerous. I don't really feel like it. But that being said, you can theoretically go all the way to the top of the structure. Right over there is the other mill building, the top of this. That's the mill complex. Right down there actually is the city of Norwich itself, downtown Norwich. That's kind of cool. And the Thames River. So let's head in here. And yeah, this is it. Let me turn my flashlight on. This right here is the catwalk. So as you can see, we're walking along an industrial catwalk right now that views down below to where we were earlier. So right down there is that massive section we were at. And this catwalk goes right above it. Luckily, I'm not really afraid of heights, but if you are afraid of heights, this is definitely not the place for you. If you look right down, you can see directly below where we're walking. And then over here, again, I'm not gonna do this today, but over here, if you climb through this hole, you can actually get up to the roof of this building, right up there. I'm not gonna be doing that today, but, oh, and right over there, American Woolen Company building. Remember, I have a video on that too if you wanna watch it. But anyways, yeah, very cool. So this was the catwalk. And I also think this is gonna be the very last thing we see today at the American Thermos Bottle Company mill complex. I think we've pretty much seen everything. I'm gonna do a little bit more digging just in case we missed anything, but I do think this is where we're gonna be ending off this exploration with. So if that's the case, I'll meet you guys back down here, film the outro, and then at the very end, you'll be able to finally see some drone shots of the place, what it looks like from above, which I think is fascinating. Hey, thank you guys for joining me. I've been Jay Mass as always, and this has been another dope New England adventure. And today we explored the abandoned American Thermos Bottle Company plant here in the city of Norwich, Connecticut. One of many abandoned Norwich, Connecticut explorations I've done on this channel. I mean, there's a lot of bandos in the city. I've done a few in the past. I'm definitely going to be doing more in the future. There are just so many abandoned sites here in Norwich. It's crazy. And a lot of that does harken back to the city's industrial importance. But anyways, guys, this place was sick. It was built between 1912 and 1913 by the Thermos Corporation to produce vacuum flasks primarily. Again, heavily sought after by the residents of Norwich. They really wanted this place to come here and boom the economy, offer more jobs for employment. This place operated for many years, and in fact, the location that we are currently in, the site we explored in this video, was much more recent, having been built between the 1930s and the 1950s. Operated for several more decades until 1984, when it officially ceased operations and closed permanently. And ever since then, this place has been essentially permanently abandoned, except for, of course, the apartments. There is an apartment complex built on the grounds of this complex. But the section we're in is fully abandoned, and it's really fascinating to explore. It's like taking a peek into New England's industrial past. And I had a great time checking it out. I hope you guys did as well. This was a fascinating place. Many local urbexers know as the Glass Factory. As always, guys, my name is Jay Mass. If you love urban exploration, checking out abandoned sites, traveling New England and beyond, I'm always doing that on the channel, so feel free to subscribe to the channel. I want to give a major shout out to all my channel members right here. You guys are awesome, and I'd love it if you too, viewer, became a member of the channel. You'd be supporting me and the channel directly, and you get your name in every video. Or you can follow me on Instagram at JMassOfficial. That's at JMassOfficial. But before we leave here, we are going to check out some really sick drone shots of the abandoned American Thermos Bottle Company from above. I'm really excited to see what it looks like from above because I wasn't able to last time it came. And I hope you guys enjoy it. And after that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.